I do not see that at all. You'll see in just a moment.
We used to watch
Let me
football
see.
together.
You have some major dexterity, man. It's impressive.
I gotta
It'll
see
catch
this.
up here in
It's
just a
better white
moment.
folks didn't live to see any of this. But
I'm telling you, the jumping jacks can get really weird.
Why, hello there, my fellow agents and open world gamers. What's up? It's Robbie with Open World Games, and today I'm going to be giving my brutally honest opinions about Tom Clancy's The Division after spending a ton of time with the beta. It has been a blast overall, but there are some things I did want to go over, so I'm going to go over the positives first. Then I'm going to get into some of the negatives, of course, so let's dive straight in. So, first of all, for those of you that have tried the story missions, I think we would all agree that those are fun and challenging, especially when you up the difficulty level to that hard difficulty. Being able to have that challenge is a ton of fun. Of course, that challenge sort of goes away as you get better weapons, which is actually kind of rewarding, but I do hope they have more difficulties in the final game. Now, of course, one of the highlights of this game is the looting, and there are a ton of weapon options. There's tons of gear and customization options, which is really nice, and I think that's possibly the most addictive thing about the game is finding a new jacket that you want, or that new weapon or attachment, or something that changes the game drastically just by stumbling into some sort of loot. Now, for the actual controls, they feel really natural and great, but I would prefer the grenades to be up on the bumpers when we're talking about the Xbox One and the PS4, especially compared to using the directional pad. It still feels quite clunky having to press the directional pad, then aim, then press, RT or R2. I would love just to be able to tap LB or L1, have your grenade indicator pop up, aim, and then tap LB again. It sort of mirrors what other shooters do out there, like Destiny, Call of Duty, Battlefield. So it just feels more natural no matter what. So I would really prefer that. And and of course those graphics are downright gorgeous. No matter what platform you are on. Of course the PC is going to be pushing the 60 frames per second. I was really worried about vertical tearing and frame rate drops on the consoles, but it seems to be more limited than I initially thought, because in the alpha it was quite bad actually. So I was like, oh man, this may not be good, but I'm glad I kept my mouth shut, because it's obviously been greatly improved from the alpha, and I'm so pleased with the visuals, especially when that weather rolls in and it starts snowing big time. And I just love the dynamic lighting and how, if you get around a cop car, you can actually see the snowflakes beginning to light up red or blue as it goes around the lights on the police car. It is so freaking cool. Now, I could see this game when it finally releases being an absolute blast in the co-op space, especially if there are enough missions to keep us entertained. As it stands now, the rumor is there's going to be a little over 10 main story missions. That's pretty okay. I do wish there were more. The actual number has not been confirmed, but as long as the game has enough side missions sprinkled throughout your story missions, that's going to be the good news. And it is really going to be important for the game's side activities to have real tangible rewards throughout your experience, because right now the focus is on the Dark Zone, and this is where a lot of my worry comes in. So yeah, my biggest worry lies within the Dark Zone for several reasons. Also, the Dark Zone can actually feel quite empty at times. This is still the case. I do feel as if there needs to be way more AI, and challenging AI too. That's what we want in the Dark Zone. We don't want it to be pushover enemies, we want a challenge. Several times I've had trouble finding rogue agents or AI, and because there seems to be no guidance in the Dark Zone, that is missions, there's very little to do while you wait around for both rogue agents to spawn and for AI to spawn. And one of the best ways to earn Dark Zone credits is hunting down rogue agents, especially if you don't want to go rogue yourself. So it's a problem waiting around, hoping, crossing your fingers that someone does go rogue. So that could be a problem. Now, the other problem with the Dark Zone is a new strategy has formed where rogue agents will sit on top of rooftops and snipe or shoot at you. This is really annoying and has continued happening to me several times. So the reason for this, though, is when you go rogue, you get a bounty on your head, and if you survive as a rogue, you collect that bounty. And because of this, players are camping rooftops constantly, going rogue, then just sitting there collecting the bounty. This is kind of frustrating, as it feels like They are not playing the game as it was meant to be designed. That is going around and engaging players instead of just sitting there on rooftops, not really engaging them, just peeking out, shooting someone, going rogue, and then, you know, taking cover. I don't think players should be earning this much Dark Zone credits and XP from surviving going rogue. I think it would really help the game in terms of the design. There would be less campers and stuff like that. And, you know, I really don't think rogue agents should have their timers increased each time they engage another player. So as they shoot someone, the timer that tells them how long they will be rogue, how long they will have that bounty on their head, keeps going up. I think it should stay stale. Once you are rogue, the timer goes down, and if you kill 2 or 3 more players or something like that, maybe you get a time penalty. I'm not too sure, but it shouldn't be every single time you shoot your weapon. Don't get me wrong, though, I absolutely love the Dark Zone, and it is a ton of freaking fun. I had a total blast playing it. I was hoping for missions, though, in the Dark Zone where you defend or go on the attack against AI. You actually had an actual mission objective in place. And then, along the way, perhaps other players could decide to help you or hinder you. I thought that would have been an excellent dynamic in the Dark Zone. But it seems like there's no missions, at least from in the beta. And I'm crossing my fingers, that is not going to be the case in the final game. Or a lot of my time will probably be spent in the co-op space. But I do have to admit that it is kind of addicting facing off against other players, of course. And a lot of you also hate grinding type games, especially after Destiny. Well, it appears this game is very grindy in many ways, especially from the beta. The only real way to level up your overall rank was to keep replaying the story mission over and over again on the hardest difficulty. This might be fun for some, but it may turn others off. I do really enjoy the story missions, and if there are a ton of them in the final game, there's going to be over 10 of them again. And if they're pretty lengthy, I'm pretty okay with revisiting them, especially if there are multiple difficulty settings and maybe even modifiers as you go along the way. That would be really cool. But of course, let's hope we do see side activities and stuff like that that really do encourage you to explore the world and also reward you in meaningful ways along your journey. So hopefully they get that down. I think things will change according to player feedback, and I'm curious to see how the final game actually turns out. But yeah, overall, I've had a total blast with this game. Just exploring the world. I cannot wait for the full map to become available, of course, with the full version. That's going to be a ton of freaking fun. But, you know, I still have some worries about the game, especially just with the Dark Zone. There's so much things about the Dark Zone that I worry about, especially when it comes to how they handle the leveling, how there's no missions currently in the Dark Zone. It's still a ton of fun. There's something absolutely addictive about the game. But guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned here to Open World Games for more Tom Clancy The Division and Open World Gaming goodness. And I will see you guys back in Mid-Crisis, New York City soon enough. See you guys there.
Call the elevator.
I'm calling it. It is
right.
called. You
Oh,
better get in.
no. Oh! He almost got his head cut off.
You did not make it.